Hello, everybody, and welcome to the ERSCA Belly Up Sports Series. Dom Santina alongside David Westergreen, Emily Harlan, our pit reporter as well, and Josh Schobel back in the production booth with us here, ready for another race at Bristol Motor Speedway. David, couple storylines coming in. I know a big one that we were both pretty excited about after we left Homestead last week, and that has to do with the race winner Ryan Lutz.
Yeah, Ryan Lutz has sponsorship from Eric Almirola and Smithfield. He'll be adding the sponsor logos to his car, I think, and I think you can see he's got like the Pit Boss grills and the Smithfield logo on the side there. So Ryan Lutz, our points leader, looking sharp, definitely getting noticed out there by a Cup Series driver, and that's pretty awesome. We're really excited for Ryan, and what a great opportunity. We hope Eric and any Smithfield fans, anybody who's wanting to watch Smithfield racing in action, you can watch that guy right there, and I think he's going to be pretty fast here tonight.
All right, now that we got that storyline out of the way, heading to our race today, what do you think the big keys are, and what do you think to watch for here today, David?
I think the key of the race is going to be to stay out of trouble, and that's key number two here. But I think it's got to be the number one most important thing at Bristol. High banks, tight quarters. You're going to be running into people and crashing. You've got to keep your car clean. If you can do that, you're going to come out with a good finish. If not, a win. So I think these guys are going to have to really figure out how to be clean. Whether or not they can run and roll that high line as well as find speed on the low line is going to be that second key. And then the pit strategy of when or not to take or not to take tires is going to be absolutely massive today because the tires are going to fall off drastically.
Bristol Motor Speedway, short track. Tempers will be high tonight. Also, going to mention that tonight starts the Butt Kicker Short Track Challenge for this year, and that'll go through the 5 different short track events throughout the season. Person that has the highest finish combined between all of those races will receive a butt kicker prize pack of their choosing. So getting ready to between 2 different butt kicker prize packs. So that's also up for grabs and starts tonight as well.
With with that, we'll go ahead and I think bring up the point standings and show you just what the gap looks like. I think there's like a 8 point gap between Ryan Lutz and Dalton Tucker, and then a pretty decently sized gap back to Tate Lytle in third, who I believe is missing the race tonight as well. So it's going to be it gets much closer and tighter as you go back there. The 20 points between Tucker and Lytle, almost exactly the difference between 10th and 20th. It's going to be a fight for sure to get into this chase.
Yeah, absolutely. Couple very consistent drivers up at the top, and then it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the point standings play out behind them. Look for the top 2 to be up running towards the front again tonight. Do we want to move into making some picks for tonight?
I think we can need to hit a word from our race sponsor, which is Jack Reitz Photography. So if Josh can bring him in, we'll send it down to Emily to get a little bit of a word from Jack on what his uh, deal is with photography and everything that he's doing.
Hey, Jack, do you have a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right. So, first of all, thanks so much for being the sponsor for tonight's race. And can you tell us just a little bit about Ritz Motorsports Photography and what it's all about?
Yeah, so it started off just me taking photos at the track and grew to taking photos at like 30 nights of racing last year. Got to shoot some World of Outlaw sprint car races, more on the dirt side, not so much asphalt stuff, but just been getting better at that and saw the opportunity to sponsor an awesome series like this and jumped on it.
Yeah, what does it kind of mean to you to have this partnership with ERSCA and Belly Up Sports?
It's great. I'm actually spotter for Dylan Thomas in the '03 for Apex Sim Racing. Me and him have run this for the entirety of this year, and then we ran it last year as well. So I've always loved how ERSCA's always run their stuff, and the fact that Belly Up has come on board and just been a huge supporter of ERSCA is just awesome. It's awesome to be a part of this whole deal.
just a little bit about your photography. What would you say is kind of the coolest thing about shooting races?
I mean, it's got to be just being able to travel as much as I've been able to and get to meet people who I never thought I'd be able to meet. Like I was in the infield at Kokomo talking with Rich Foreman, who is one of the best photographers in the country and is the lead photographer for USAC. Just being able to rub shoulders with them, I guess, is such an honor and such a blessing.
Do you have a favorite race that you've been able to shoot at, or a favorite track that you've been at so far?
Oh man, you're really putting me on the spot here. I would say probably my favorite race. Oh man, either the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars at Kokomo back in October, or the Jordan Page Winter Nationals down at Southern Oklahoma Speedway. Um, got to meet awesome people at both of those races. Man, I'm torn between those two. World of Outlaws probably just because it's an experience in and of itself.
And you said you were a spotter for Dylan, is that correct?
Yep.
So is he maybe your pick for who's going to come out on top?
Yeah, don't pick him. I'm probably fired as spotter. So he does really well at short tracks like this. So had a little bit of a rough week last week, but we're looking to rebound tonight. The Woo Tungsten Reitz Motorsports Photography Apex Sim Racing 03 Chevy Camaro is looking good as always. So I think we're gonna have a good night.
Awesome. And before we let you go, where can people find you and support you on social media?
Unfortunately, I don't have a Twitter quite yet. I haven't really gotten around to making that, but Reitz Motorsports Photography on Facebook. Can find me on there, give it a like, scroll through, see some photos, and plenty more photos to come. I think I've got 60 races scheduled this year that I plan on attending. So lots of awesome photos to come. And I got to thank y'all again for allowing me to sponsor such an awesome race.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks so much for your time, Jack. And thanks again for sponsoring tonight.
Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you, Emily. Awesome to hear from our race sponsor, Jack Reitz, and sponsoring the Reitz Motorsports race here tonight. All right. Now that I forgot about that, and we are actually now getting ready to wrap up qualifying, why don't we get ready to make picks now?
Yeah, I think I'll start, and I'll do my best not to just take Ryan Lutz. I feel like that's kind of the easy, obvious choice. I'm gonna go, I think, with a little bit of an underdog today. Jordan Owens was really fast in practice, and this race is gonna be all about keeping your nose clean. And I think Jordan might have an opportunity to really, make a name for himself today if he can really stay out of trouble. My other pick would be Damian Leininger. He's gonna have to be coming from the back. So those are the two guys that I'm kind of looking out for today.
All right, Emily, do you want to go next since you picked it right last week?
Yes, I will. I picked Ryan Lutz on Twitter, and that worked out very well for me last week. And so Damien said, "Can I be your pick for this week's race?" And I said, "Sure, why not?" So that's my pick. I'm going with Damien, and we'll see how he does. I think he's going to do well tonight.
All right, I guess I'll pick the guy that's been one of the most consistent all week long and just hope for a decent finish. I'm going to go with Dalton Tucker here tonight.
So no one's picking Ryan Lutz. Interesting that that's kind of the result. I think Ryan may be the de facto favorite, but the last time I watched a Bristol race, it was the Elite Racing Wednesday night race. It was 500 miler at Bristol, so we ran 500 laps, and Ryan Lutz was out with big damage on lap 50 or something like that. So as much of a favorite as he is, it's Bristol. Anything can happen.
Yeah, only 200 laps tonight, but it's still going to be just as exciting. I think we're getting ready to just kind of figure out the final starting order. We'll get ready to go with this one.
Could potentially
other
ads here and see what our sponsors are looking like during this heat race. Go ahead, Dom.
There are our sponsors, Days Gone By, of course, Batflip Podcast, Belly Up Sports, Butt Kicker, Colonial Metal Products, and just to name a few, plus all the other amazing sponsors here we have at the ERSCA series. All right, I think we're going to take a little video break here while we get ready to set the order. Be right back.
Welcome back to Bristol. We're starting to grid up for the Reitz Motorsports 200, presented by ERSCA and Belly Up Sports. This is going to be a banger of a race. We're going to be side by side, cars bouncing off of each other all night. I think we're going to see a number of caution flags. We've gone over our favorites. We've kind of made all the talking points. Now it's time to go through the starting lineup for today's race. Pick out some of these, some of your favorite drivers, and we'll try to make note of the ones that are sticking out. Nick Massey qualifies on pole, last year's champion.
Yeah, Ethan Burrell, Scott Crump in the top. Burrell starting second, Crump starting in the third spot. A couple fast cars up there in the front, couple of notable names as well.
Interesting that Dalton Tucker and Ryan Lutz 7th and 10th respectively. As we roll through the back end of the top 20, we've got some, Busch Series champion Jeff Green starting 23rd, and Josh Clark is 13th in points right now. 28 car has been kind of making some waves. I think it's time for him to get up here and fight for a win. Back to the rear, Johnny Thomas starting 35th. My pick, Jordan Owens starting 33rd. Not the best of starts, but I think if we even move one further back, we're going to see another pick. Damian Leininger starting 39th today.
Yeah, and rounding out the field, Jared Mogard and R.C. Henderson.
Yeah, Mogard is
been up to the front, starting in the back, and have to work their way through as well.
Mogard is 6th in points, and that's a dreadful starting spot. R.C. Anderson has been very fast, 2 top 5s in the 2 races that he's run. We'll be looking for those guys to be making their way through the field for sure. Bristol Motor Speedway at night, always a sight to behold. The last great Coliseum getting ready to send us off today. One more lap, and we'll release these cars, and we'll have to see whether or not these guys can make it clean. That's what I'm looking for, is for these guys to kind of work it out. Everyone kind of single out, get to the top, try to take care of each other for the first little bit, and then go racing once the tires start to wear.
200 laps. Going to go by pretty quickly here on this short track of Bristol Motor Speedway. Nick Massey, Ethan Burrell going to lead us to the green flag. Tempers will be high. Will they boil over? We'll find out here in just a few laps. Base car down and away, and here we go. Another ERSCA race is underway. Ethan Burrell on the throttle, and away we go. Nick Massey pulling out to the race lead.
Yeah, producer Josh Sobel's going to have to be really on top of things. That everything's going to change very quickly at Bristol. We're going to get a number of crashes. We'll have to watch these guys file up to the top. I think the top is going to be the fast lane, but you're going to have to make passes on the bottom as Crump jumps in front of Indelicato, and they're going to wad him up on the back straightaway. Huge crash.
Dalton Tucker, there's Jeff Green involved.
Still piling in.
Tyler Riggs, Damian Leininger in there.
It's just nowhere to go at Bristol.
I think Johnny Thomas is going to squeak through, but oh, there comes the pace car through. Looks like Heater's involved. Adams involved. Big one here at Bristol, and I caught that out of the corner of the screen as we were looking at our front two. Crump tried to jump up there and get in that top line, and just nowhere to go. Got turned. I think Colin Fambro has some damage as well.
Oh man, that's a lot of heavy hitters in the points as well. Scott Crump didn't need this. Neither did Nick and Delicato. Nick and Delicato's up there in the points, but Crump is 26th in points. Not the start he wanted for sure. We'll have to see whether or not there's a lot of heavy damage to those two cars. And that's where it started, was in Delicato and Crump, and it took out Dalton Tucker, the second place in points man. Ryan Lutz got spun out as well. Big damage for both number 1 and number 2 in points. Just so difficult to stop here too. You know, there's none that any of those guys in the back are doing wrong by sliding into the wreck. It's so hot and slick at Bristol that when you get on the brakes, the car just continues to travel. These are big, heavy cars, and you're going to watch Damien. He'll be on the brakes here. You see, he's woeing up. Well, it's not yet. Here he comes. He's not even trying very hard right now, though.
Thomas Sherman did a heck of a job there to get through, avoiding all that. He was in the beginning of that pile up, but he still got through with no contact. And you can see Leininger, there's just literally nowhere to go on the racetrack.
Yeah, you couldn't see the pile up either. And Damien maybe didn't have someone in his ear. Looked like Kyle Hanshaw had someone in his ear telling him to slow down. Damien didn't. And Hanshaw is going to get away with no damage. Damien's going to get away with a dent on the front nose of the 12 car. Ryan Lutz involved.
Quite a few cars. Here's Ryan Lutz. Mentioned him in our pre-race.
I don't know that we've even gotten a great view of the way this wreck started, but Scott Crump cut in front of Nick and Delicato there in the middle of the corner, trying to get to the top lane, and took out a lot of good race cars. 25 of Marshall Stanley upside down.
Yeah, I started to try to count how many were involved, but I think it's too many at this time. I'd probably have to say 20 plus at this point.
Yep. I think you're right, and let's watch Scott Crump go off into the corner. He knows he's got to get up top, so he goes ahead and jumps up there, and Nick and Delicato not ready for it at all. Matthew Bayuk maybe sneaks through, so does Thomas Sherman. Both of them do a wonderful job getting through the wreck.
Yeah, Sherman did a great job there, getting out of the binders, sneaking through. A couple cars being able to sneak their way through, but for a majority, everyone from about 6th on back getting involved in that one.
Yep, and they'll be waving around, I believe, all these cars that may have gone a lap down via iRacing under the caution here. So in iRacing, what happens is the pace car, you saw it zoom through the wreck there, it will zoom out and trap the cars a lap down that are just slowed up for the wreck. So I think Johnny Thomas and John Eckert, the wonderful guys that are working the race control, they're up there making sure that everyone's on the lead lap as they're supposed to be, and that's a great move, I think.
So 2 weeks in a row now, in the first inside of 10 laps, we've had a big pile up to start the race.
We may want to send Emily down to get a word with maybe Scott Crump as we go back to green here. See if maybe we can wait on that, but here's actually Crump in the booth now with us.
Go ahead.
Well.
All right, well, we're back green. Ethan Burrell, your race leader. Nick Massey in second.
Yep, Burrell took the lead from Massey there. Gerald Campbell into third.
We'll bring Scott Crump back up here in a few minutes, but we're looking back at the live action. So, David, you've raced these cars obviously quite a bit with the Elite Series and stuff. How much of it does it make a difference with damage like that to your race car?
Fortunately, at the short tracks, not a whole lot of damage. I think that we can get really a good picture of how they'll move forward with damage if we watch some people like Damian Leininger and Colin Fambro, who is up in 5th right now. Fambro hit the wall. He has some damage, but he stayed out because track position means a lot here. It's very difficult to pass. We've got Damian in 15th, Dalton Tucker in 16th. Those guys have damage. If they can hold those positions and move forward at all, I think that would be clear as to how much the damage is affecting these cars, which is probably not a whole lot.
Right now, Ethan Burrell trying to check out on Nick Massey. He's pulled about a half-second lead over the 48 car, and here comes Weeks to the inside of Jared Campbell looking for the 3rd spot.
Gerald is so hard to pass. He's very much a Ryan Newman style of driver. He holds his own, just doesn't give you the room. That's not a bad thing. He's difficult to pass, and he runs everybody the same, runs everybody very hard. So when you're around Gerald, you have to really make that move with that intensity to get around him and get him out of the way. Weeks so far has just kind of poked his nose in there, but he'll have to settle out, try to get a chance to run down his teammates if he can get a better run. I think that's trying to run down Ethan Burrell. Matthew Bayuk putting some pressure on Colin Fambro. And I think one of the things I want to mention here as we watch this pack, which looks like it's somewhat held up behind Gerald Campbell, is when you have a car slower in front and you're holding up like a whole line of cars, it is not the front car's job to get out of the way of these guys. But it is these guys behind. They have to be patient, because the minute that someone like Scott right here jumps to the inside and starts creating a mess in the back, that's when these guys won't make up positions. You'll start getting into incidents.
Running in the 7th position there, not one guy that we've mentioned too much this season, Brandon Scott in the 99 car, running right behind Matthew Bayou there in the 7th spot.
And a big shout out to Robert Hill running 10th. He has struggled the last couple of weeks. Really didn't have a handle on this Xfinity car at those 1.5 mile tracks, but he's up here at the short track. Got the wheel in the wheel in it. Able to use the brakes, run that top lane. 05 car is looking pretty fast tonight.
Thomas Sherman right in front of him. We saw him avoid that rock. He's in the 9th spot. And Cameron Rich, who struggled a little bit since Daytona, is up here in the 11th spot, looking to try to get into a top 10.
Tight Bristol racing here, just a line of cars, nowhere for anyone to go, and I think we're going to have to see guys venture to the bottom before anything happens. I think the rubber will actually get up into the top groove and probably make it a little bit slippery, and as these tires wear, guys will be able to venture to the bottom and make those passes.
Back there's Dalton Tucker with some contact. Johnny Thomas in there as well. Damian Leininger right behind them.
Tucker and Leininger are my kind of bars for how well the damaged cars are going to be able to run, and they're able to hold their own in 15th and 16th. So it seems like some of these guys will be able to pick up spots and run down cars in front of them with damage. So I don't think damage is the end of your day, but if it's significant, like nose damage or significant rear damage, you can really lose out a lot of horsepower and a lot of ability to make moves.
See the difference in the top line and bottom line there as they go around Francis. They'll tuck in behind Dalton Tucker.
A guy I want to have Josh kind of put the view on 1 second is Brandon Key joining back with us. I know Brandon's been away for a little bit, and I'm really glad to see him back in the car, able to run with us. Had run into some health issues, but running right there with his teammate Josh Adams and doing a fine job in 24th. Looks like the car is pretty fast. So hopefully Brandon is able to keep on racing and not have any more of those health problems.
Yeah, very glad to hear and see that 6 car back on the racetrack and back with the ERSCA crew. See Brandon mounting his way up. Johnny Thomas has been on the march since the start of the race, up 22 spots at the moment.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
23rd.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, but I think Damien's actually gotten more spots, even though he's 2 cars behind Johnny. He might have the same, it might be the same, maybe 21. Yeah, so Damien's fallen back a couple of spots, but both of those guys have jumped up from their rear end starting positions through that big wreck. Back up front, Gerald Campbell still holding station over Matthew Weeks, Colin Fambro, and Matthew Bayou. Campbell using that wall line. I want to briefly touch on that if we can. These guys can use the line that bounces the car off the wall. It is faster on this game. It's just you run it up, you graze the wall, and then you zoom down the straightaway and you don't lose as much speed. It's risky because you can get sucked into the wall, but if you do it just right, you just bounce it off the wall, glance it, and it's much faster than braking and entering the corner normally. Wonder if these guys are going to be held on that as we have a crash on track.
Tyler Riggs goes around in the middle of the corner. Another bad break for the 26 car. He's really had a struggle to this ERSCA season.
Yeah, Tyler Riggs way down in points, 35th in points. Had a miserable start to the year. He's had some wheel connection issues. Had a pedal connection issue in the elite race earlier tonight. So yeah, tough break for Tyler. Let's see what happened here.
Rogard on the top side, Riggs underneath.
Innocent enough there. Ooh, yep. I think that's a wheel disconnection.
Yeah, that thing shot right. Didn't see
Almost
who he
as-
got into there, but
It was
looks like he
Jared
might have-
Owens and Chuck Sweeting that he bounced off of.
So you might have had a connection issue there for a second too. Blinked on the screen for half a second.
I mean, watch this thing. It just veers right. Yep. See the wheel turns dead to the left. You saw it there. Definitely a wheel problem. I've had those recently. Had my wheel disconnecting. Had to buy a new wheel actually. Definitely something that we can appreciate as iRacing folks. So it looks like Gerald Campbell stayed out. Everyone else has gone down pit road.
Do we have a firm number on how many sets of tires they have here today?
I don't know that answer. But maybe
I
we
don't
can
either,
get that from Josh Sobel, and maybe we can send Emily Harlan down to talk to Scott Crump now and see what happened in that first incident finally. Let me move. So let's bring Scott in here and let Emily talk to him here.
Hey, Scott, do you have a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, go ahead.
All right. Well, thanks for rejoining us here. Can you just kind of take us through what you saw from your point of view from that first crash here tonight?
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is. I was just trying to take it easy on the bottom, and I went in there and she broke loose sideways. I had it saved, but just Nick had too much of a run to slow up to not hit me.
And
Just
what kind of
for everybody
go
else.
ahead. What kind of damage was done to your car from that?
I have a little bit of minute damage, about a little bit on the front and back. It's not too bad. It'd be all right.
Cool. So, what is kind of the strategy or the plan moving forward? Then, how do you gain some ground again in this race?
I'm going to take some few pits and get it fixed a little bit, then start getting tires again.
All right. Well, Scott, thanks for your time and good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thank you.
With that, we will let Scott Crump head back to the service of his crew. We'll get back to the race lead here if we can. I think it's Gerald Campbell staying out on old tires, Joe Francis as well, Kyle Hanshaw as well staying out on old tires. I think that is going to be end up being the wrong move. It looks like we've got Josh Adams serving a penalty. Probably too fast on pit road.
Yeah, we'll see what the differential is between new tires and old tires. We saw it last week for sure at Homestead. It's probably going to play a massive factor here at Bristol as well.
If I had to bet, I think the tire differential there is going to cause some issues. Maybe we can send Emily to run and try to get the thought process for Gerald Campbell at some point during this run.
We will see, and we'll see how fast those new tires will pay off for the guys coming through. See how fast they can get back out to the front. Looks like Nick Massey's going to start in the 4th position.
Looks like that pole spot did Nick Massey wonders as Campbell goes early and gets ahead of Joe Francis. And that'll trap Ethan Burrell behind Kyle Hanshaw on old tires. That probably opens the door for Matthew Weeks to take advantage of his teammate.
Yep, here they go. Weeks to the high side. He'll take the spot. Here comes Cameron Rich as well to the top side. Burrell trapped on the bottom, looking for somewhere to go. Colin Fambro up there going around. He's going to lose quite a few spots on this restart.
Yep.
There's Bayuk as well. Looks like Damien Leininger's down there trapped on the bottom as well. Or Johnny Thomas, not Damien Leininger. Trapped on the bottom as well.
Going for second is Nick Massey. He's going to take it around Joe Francis. The fresh tires giving you a grip that you can run anywhere on the racetrack. Matthew Weeks following in his tire tracks.
Yep,
Weeks led.
Oh, go ahead.
Weeks led every lap at the elite racing race at North Wilkesboro due to a flurry of cautions the other week, and he's suddenly become one of those short track guys that just seems like he knows what he's doing on these short tracks. He's really getting to be pretty good at monitoring these tight quarters races. Man, Cameron Rich slides it up and clears himself on Joe Francis.
Yeah, Matthew Weeks just did the exact same thing. 2 close calls there in front of Joe.
Caution.
Joe Francis, and our third caution has come out on the racetrack.
That was for the lead between Massey and Campbell, and a big scrap, and it's going to be Ethan Burrell. Looks like the tire strategy for one has harmed the former leader of this race.
Yeah, Jeff Green involved in that one as well.
Ethan Burrell is 5th in points, so 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th in points, and 6th in points have all had issues today. Ethan joins his teammate Tate Lytle, who's been out. Ryan Lutz and Dalton Tucker caught up in a lap 2 crash, and Jared Mogart caught up in that crash as well from 6th in points. So just Gerald Campbell and Nick Massey having a good day so far amongst our points leaders. This could really shake things up.
Yeah, it will indeed. Still got a long way to go. Not even a quarter of the way through this yet. We've had 3 cautions, but it's definitely going to make a difference.
Oh.
It looks like he took a Bayuk took a hit there. And
Oh, and
Burrell
where's
just
Ethan
had
supposed to
nowhere to
go?
go.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Tough to call on that one. Looked like Scott just misjudged going into the corner on Bayou. We might need a closer look to see if there was any net code there, because that's certainly a possibility. Bristol is notorious for having some really wide boxes on these cars. And it looks like the 99 car just missed the corner and took out the 29.
That is Brandon Scott, who had been running earlier in the top 10. Got together there with Matthew Bayuk. We'll go on board with Scott now and take a look. Slides up the racetrack a little bit. Down goes Bayuk. Brings out our 3rd caution.
Another fairly large crash, though this one a little bit less huge in scope. Just maybe a 5-6 car pile up there, but as long as we have 40 cars on track or 35 cars on track, I think these fairly large size pile ups are going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. Not much room to stop, especially you saw it there with a couple of cars. At the end of that one, just nowhere else to go. Tried to go low to avoid it and got caught up in the wreck. Massey will be your race leader. Jared Campbell in 2nd, Matthew Weeks in 3rd, Cameron Rich 4th, and Colin Frambro rounds out the top 5.
We do have Emily Harlan back in the booth with us. So Emily, what'd you find out from pit road?
Yes, I did have a quick chat with Gerald, and I just asked him what his tire strategy was for the night, and he said his strategy is just basically to survive. He said he's planning on staying in front of all of the carnage, and that, of course, tires are important, but the most important thing is just the position. So that's kind of what he's focusing on for me.
Good to know. Gerald's probably going to try this stay out strategy a number of more times. And when he had the lead, that works out pretty well. So Gerald was able to hold off Nick Massey for 5 or so laps. And in a 200 lap race, I mean, he's going to have a couple of opportunities to do that.
Thanks, Emily, once again for going down there and getting that insider information. We'll see. He's got the preferred line here on the restart, the top side, but new tires for Nick Massey as we get ready to go back green once again. A big restart jump there for Nick Massey on the inside line. We'll see if he'll be able to slide up in front of the 31. To go into 1 and 2, he'll be able to clear him, pull up, back to the race lead goes Nick Massey. Here comes Cameron Rich to the outside of Matthew Weeks. Weeks trying to go around Campbell on the inside. Might be getting caught down there on the bottom.
You can see even with just that one heat cycle in Matthew Weeks' tires, he is unable to really gather it up and clear by Gerald Campbell, despite having much fresher rubber on that 11 car. Campbell able to just kind of hold serve in that outside line. Just shows you how dominant that outside line is going to be tonight.
Oh, and this is the best case scenario for Campbell right now, just hanging into that 2nd spot, because we've seen when we get back in there a couple times how you can just get caught up in those big ones. And Emily mentioned it, that he's just trying to avoid all of that and stay up front as much as possible. So if he can make this work with older tires, might see a couple other guys pull the same strategy going forward the rest of the night. Cameron Rich has got around Weeks back to the 4th spot now.
Weeks just kind of gives up there. He was trying and pushing on the bottom, could not get around Gerald Campbell. Now Cameron Rich giving it a shot, and the caution out once again.
Fourth
Another
caution
incident in the
now.
rear of the field.
Let's see.
Michael Madden, the 15, involved, and that might be another disconnected wheel for Tyler Riggs. That's what that looked like when it's cranked all the way to the left. That's what tends to happen. Officials might want to pull him off till he gets that wheel set up right. Kendall Noah, player involved in yet another incident today. He was fairly high up in points. Up in, I don't know, maybe not 27th in points, but having a fairly good day, started up inside the top 12.
At least 2 or 3 crashes now for that 99 or 94 car of player. Here we take a look at it once again.
Comes back across and into Damian Leininger. Nowhere for Kendall to go. Nowhere for Chuck Sweeting to go. More guys that have just been involved in wreck after wreck tonight.
That's what happens when you get caught in the back. There's Tyler Riggs going around at the end of it. Car's pretty beat up here in the back of the field.
Gonna be a kind of a feature for the night. You see Kendall doesn't see anything. There's a car sitting in his way right there, and then it's all over. On board with Damian Leininger, I think we're going to see here, there's just absolutely nowhere to go, and we might want to pull him in for an interview or something. Just absolutely an atrocious night for Damian Leininger already.
Yeah, there's Riggs going around, and just once again, Leininger having nowhere to go, gets into the 26 car. We're only a fourth of the way through it, or a little over a fourth of the way through the race.
Yep. So I think this thing is going to have to be, we're going to have to see that one was a mistake in the corner. We've seen a mistake, or rather that one was a mistake on the straightaway. We've seen a mistake in the corner. We've seen a car get loose and not, we've had that, the big wreck, which was kind of a no fault deal, but these guys I know they can take care of each other. I know they can do it. We just need them to, be a little more careful here, try to finish things out. But you can see our list of cars out of the race is growing rapidly.
Yeah, it might be survival of the fittest here tonight. Who can ever stay out front the longest?
And it is going to be Nick Massey for now, though, and Cameron Rich and Matthew Weeks will have an opportunity now as Gerald Campbell has pitted, as has Joe Francis. So that means everyone in the top 10 on the same tire strategy. Massey and Cameron Rich will battle it out for the lead when we go back green.
Campbell going to hope he can get through the field as quick as possible, get back up here close to the front for disaster strikes once again in the back of the field.
Yep, Gerald Campbell's going to have to be one of those guys we keep an eye on as he rolls his way back through. If he gets caught up in anything, that would really open up the door, I think, for probably Nick Massey to capitalize the most and get the most points today. A lot of these guys that are up here in the top 5, Callan Fambro, Josh Clark, Matthew Weeks, not among our points leaders right now. Cameron Rich as well. He had a good deal of trouble despite running well last week. Ended up fairly far down the order.
Back to green flag racing we go once again. Nick Massey looking for the advantage. Did not pull as good of a restart as last time. And here comes Cameron Rich, going to take advantage of it down the backstretch into 3 and 4. Looks to draw even with the 48 car. Now coming down towards the finish line. I think that lap goes to Cameron Rich. He'll be your new race leader. Going to look to clear the 48 out of 2. Will Matthew Weeks going to look to go around the 48 of Massey as well?
Weeks looks real good. If he can get back to Rich, he was running hard there, but it seems like whoever starts on the outside has a massive advantage, and they're able to really hold their own. And once things get settled out, it's very difficult to make ground back up. We saw Josh Clark go from 5th. He's now back in 9th, struggling to stay inside the top 10. He does slide in front of Harrison Talon. Those guys work pretty well together. I think they're in voice chat together every race.
Yeah, it seems like whoever starts on that inside line, especially at the front of the line, loses at least 1 or 2 positions at every restart. Here goes Adams looking to the inside of Johnny Thomas for the 7th spot.
Yeah, and big shout out. He was on the screen just briefly, but big shout out to Brandon Key running 11th. Car looks pretty clean. Been involved in maybe one incident where the wall scraped there on the right side, but All in all, a good run for the 6 car, definitely badly needed after missing a couple of weeks and having no luck in the other races that he did attend. Battle back here, Jordan Owens, my pick for the race, running with Scott Crump, who was involved in that first incident, Jeff Green involved in the last one.
And there's Campbell right there behind him, starting to make his way through the field.
Jack Ritz's car back here as well in the shot, Dylan Thomas running inside the top 20, doing a pretty good job, looks pretty clean.
Must be that spotter work up top, keeping that 0-3 car out of damage and out of issue.
Jordan Owens on board here going after Scott Crump, but that inside line not very powerful. You just really can't get up off the corner. You're able to keep it wound up in that top groove, and these guys are able to really drive off and accelerate down the straightaways. So you see Nick and Delicato up ahead trying to go after Brandon Scott, but really can't make any ground on the bottom. It's so difficult to pass when the only way you can pass is when the guy in front of you has to kind of check up a little bit more than you do to get to the bottom of the racetrack. But everybody kind of going up to the top like it's Daytona in the Cup Series.
Yeah, kind of running single file. Good to see Johnny Thomas in the top 10. Been a little while since the 83 car has been up here running solid.
Same for Robert Hill, man. 05 car doing a whale of a job today. Absolutely fantastic drive. Not a mark on it. Not a mark on this 23 car of Thomas Sherman either. These guys have been crystal clean so far today, and that's the recipe for success at Bristol. All they need is a little track position, I think, and they'd be able to jump up there and run with Cameron Rich, Matthew Weeks, Nick Massey. We know Colin Fambro's been in the wall, but that 5 car is really looking fairly clean despite it. And it looks pretty fast.
Things kind of quieting down a little bit. Here, there we go. There's a battle. Dalton Tucker and Jared Mogard. Jumping to the inside, looking to pick up some positions. Jeff Green in there as well.
Campbell making up a lot of ground on those fresher tires now, so he's on the opposite end of the tire strategy that he was playing last time through. Able to kind of carve his way through the field. I usually like being on that end where you're the one with tires, you're the one on the attack, everyone else is defending around you. And looks like we've finally been able to sort it out, get single file, and try to get some laps under our belt. I think then the guys with fresh tires are going to be the ones coming to the front, and that includes Gerald Campbell and the guy we're on board with right now, Joe Francis.
Yeah, it's got to feel a lot better when you're moving forward and not moving backwards, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's what I like. Is I like to have fresh tires when I'm driving my car. You know, I came down pit road today, got fresh tires. My teammate stayed out. We were running back to back. I think 11th and 12th. I think he finished 13th. I finished 15th, or 11th and 15th, something like that. So, you know, I'd prefer to be moving forward, and even if it doesn't work out for me, which it didn't today, but that's just the way I'd always rather have it.
Joe Francis trying to look to the inside. Little position.
On your ticker, Gerald Campbell has entered the top 10, so I think if there's someone coming forward and on a march with fresh tires, it is this 31 car, one of the 2 really top-end points position drivers that are still running up here, and Gerald, Nick Massey, the 2 that are up in the top 10 in points. Matthew Weeks in 18th in points. He's having a very good day, and this should catapult him much higher in the standings if he's able to finish up here, but I think the guys who are looking to capitalize the most off of the issues that others have had that are up in the top group are this 48 car and that 31.
Yeah, as we've mentioned throughout the season, Nick Massey, defending champions, been running consistent of late. And here you go. Here's a battle. This is for 7th, 8th, and now trying to catch a 6th spot. There's Johnny Thomas back there. He is in the 8th spot. And here comes Jared Campbell on a pass on Harrison Talent for the 9th spot. 6th through 9th running together.
Campbell up another spot. Those fresh tires are able to give him a chance to run to the inside and drive around cars. No one else on old tires is really able to do that, I think. And you know, when we see this 31 car cut to the bottom, we know that he's got the strength and the grip to do it.
He's going to look to the inside of Johnny Thomas here. Thomas going to go low to block him as he looks to the inside of Adams for the 7th spot. Couldn't make it work. He's going to have to tuck in line, but I think See Campbell here pin Thomas to the bottom, go around him on the top side.
Yep, you see there the power of the tires. Johnny Thomas not able to make that inside work, but Gerald Campbell able to roll it on the inside of Harrison Talon, now able to jump to the outside and now cut inside. Those fresh tires on the 31 just give him so much strength and power to be able to drive to the bottom, even though these guys are going to get those good runs going down the straightaways. He's clear of Josh Adams. He's looking after Robert Hill for sixth.
Yep, and he's looking inside of that number 05 car. He'll dive down to the bottom once again. Try to clear him off the corner and down the straightaway, and we'll do so, or almost do so. Hill hanging on to that.
Ooh, Robert got into the wall.
Mighty close. Sneaking away there was Campbell. Hill did a good job. He came down the hill a little bit, but kept it off of Campbell's car. Hope to lose 4 spots and move back just inside the top 10 in that 10th position.
And that's a good job piece of driving by Robert Hill. You know, just overdrive the corner a little bit, but he didn't turn that into an incident where he took out Gerald Campbell and himself. He's going to be able to keep running, keep the 05 car with a chance to, you know, finish up in the top 10. Even though he's lost 3 or 4 spots, you know, he'll be able to gain those back because he was able to keep it under control.
Nick and Delicato just went by him for the 10th position. Hill back to 11th. There's Key in the 12th spot. And look at the battle back here.
This is a couple of our big guys in points. Chris Wright, Dalton Tucker, Josh Clark, who's fading back on those older tires a little bit. He was also involved in one of those incidents. So I think the 28 car, as it bounces it off the wall, might have just a touch of damage.
This is 13th through 18th. Going at it, 2 by 2 here. Dalton Tucker looking to move on a little bit. Bottom line, making the move pay off for the 13th position.
Chris Wright moving forward in the 69 car. You know, he's been involved in some of the wrecks, but it doesn't look very badly damaged. I wonder if this car might be one of those that if you give it a little track position, it could really be a contender for the win.
Just went by as well.
Yep, they single out here in this back end of the pack battle, and Brandon Key is driven by Robert Hill for 12th. Meanwhile, up front, Cameron Rich has put a 2.5 seconds on Matthew Weeks. I think there's a battle for second right now.
Yes,
Battle for 4th and second is Weeks to the bottom on Jordan Owens.
We said our producer Josh Schobel was going to be busy tonight, and he's seeing it right now. Battles all over the track. Here comes Campbell on Fambro for the 4th spot. Couldn't quite clear him. I think Fambro might have hit the outside wall there a little bit. And now look at the battle up front. This has stacked everybody up. Battle for second between Weeks and Massey. And I think there might even be a lap car in there as well that's helped stack all this up.
Yep, Jordan Owens might have gotten into the wall a little bit there, and I think that's brought everyone back together. It's very much an accordion here. Nick Massey now right in front of Weeks, right in front of Campbell. Campbell's the one on the fresh tires, and he's coming to the front. The other car that's, as he goes around Weeks, the other car that I think is on fresh tires and moving forward is Nick and Delicato in the 01 car. He is catching this group in a hurry.
Yeah, David, but look at that. With how much they've been stacking up, look at the interval now between Massey and Cameron Rich. Almost 2 3/4 seconds between the two. Rich has really been able to run away here while they've been all doing battle behind him.
Cameron Rich, after that win at Daytona, has been nothing short of it's been just a disaster of a season for him. And you know, he's been competitive. We've seen him be competitive. He ran well at Daytona. He was very good at Homestead. He was decent at Iowa for a little bit, but just never was able to get those races more consistently. And now up in the front, pulling away from Nick Massey and Gerald Campbell, who's on fresh tires. Impressive run by this 47 car. The battle here for 5th, and it looks like Weeks has maybe run the tires off of this 11 car.
Yeah, I think he might have slowed up that group just a little bit because they've been able to cut about 1/2 second already off of Cameron Rich's lead as we got a slow car re-entering the racetrack that they'll have to navigate around. But
Nick Lafferty, that is.
Now it's stabilized at about, jumped way down to under 2 seconds now. As Rich tries to go under Jeff Green, they might have had a little bit of contact or got together a little bit, slowed up Rich a little bit.
I think it was just that Cameron Rich had to drive the bottom of the racetrack. It is so difficult to keep your momentum up on the bottom, especially when you're bypassing a lapped car. And if you don't clear him right away, you don't get that run on the straightaway. And then you're having to figure out how to get by him entering the corner when you don't have any speed on the car that's definitely slower than you up in the top groove. Definitely the problem so far for Cameron Rich has been the lap traffic. Same for Matthew Weeks, who has fallen all the way to 6th, who's been bypassed by Nick and Delicato now, and also Thomas Sherman. Weeks kind of falling back in Delicato, the one coming forward in that 01 car.
Well, we have hit the halfway point, and now we'll start the second half of the race.
Yep. There was a 10-point bonus to Cameron Rich for leading that lap, definitely needed after his start to the season. And now let's go to producer Josh Sobel to bring the noise.
Break at the midway point for the Bring the Noise segment, which we started last week, which has been awesome. We are working on lap 108. Cameron Rich's lead has decreased significantly, now down to just half a second over Nick Massey.
Yep, lap traffic playing a massive factor in that. And if you've ever watched a race at Bristol, Martinsville, a NASCAR race, these guys have to deal with so much lap traffic that it absolutely causes the backup for the leader. But the guys behind, they also run into the backup. Nick Massey is able to make his way around these guys like Jared Mogard, but Mogard not giving his mate in the points any room. Campbell stuck in traffic as well.
Yeah, his run to the front's kind of stalled out a little bit. Able to drive it back up to the 3rd spot, but has not been able to catch Massey or Cameron Rich.
Quickly coming up. Thomas. He's quickly coming up on the back of the lead lap cars. Matthew Bayuk, the number 1 of those. Rich really about to enter the most difficult stage of this lapping portion, I think. Bayuk there racing with, is that Josh Clark? Those guys are racing for position right in front of the leader.
This is when it could get really interesting. He's got to pick and choose how he's going to go around these guys, and that could open up the door for Nick Massey or even Jared Campbell in the 3rd spot. You can see the gap is shrinking now down to 0.2 of a second. And Rich is getting caught behind these guys.
Massey is right on Rich's back bumper. Caution's out.
That may be the break Cameron Rich needed right there. We relieve some pressure.
Oh,
Nick
no.
Delicato into the wall.
Nick and Delicato, who had moved so far forward. I think he was 4th.
I'll have to go back and watch this one. Longest green flag stretch we've had all night. A good one. There it is, working under Dylan Thomas. As you said there, David, 4th spot.
Just a little tight off the corner and into Richard Hines. I think everyone else was able to scoot by unscathed, and Delicato is going to have a little bit of damage. Probably the end of his opportunity for the win. He was really coming forward to the front.
Now, was that net code, or did he catch a little bit of the lap car up there on top?
I'll take a page out of my co-host in the Elite Racing League Cup Series, Rich Kosla's book. That was oversteer. He was cranked hard to the left to try to stay off of the car to his outside, and when he did that, it got to sliding, and he overcorrected back to the right, and that caused him to spin out.
Just working under Mogard and Thomas here.
Just there, and overcorrects to the right. When he does that, bang into the wall. Colin Fambro sneaking by, everyone else woeing up, able to drive around in Delicado. And you see, he ends up going a lap down, I believe, because he isn't able to get it back back in the straight line. Time for Cameron Rich to be able to bypass him.
Oh, we were just talking about it there during the sound portion while we were taking a step away. We were talking about tires, pit stops, and David, you brought up the point. You believe there's going to be a caution before we have to get to that, and here it is. So most of these guys going to come down pit road for fresh tire?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think it's even a question. A big amount of laps on those tires, and these guys are going to have to really find new grip the rest of the way. Could be green to the end now. I think these guys have made their bed. Whoever's pitted now, they can go to green. They can go to the end. So if the caution comes out again, I think that's where we'll see the strategy come of some guys staying out and some guys coming in to get tires. So let's send down to Emily to talk to Nick and Delicado here and see what he thought about that accident.
Hey, Nick, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Can you just kind of take us through what happened from your point of view there?
Yeah, I was hauling. I felt really good. Saved the tires probably 10 times better than most. And I don't know, I looked at it, he was about a quarter lane down, and I don't even think I actually touched him. I'm pretty sure it was net code, but I lost a little bit of talent, wasn't able to save it, and sadly took somebody else out with me. But I was moving. I just seem to get unlucky here in the past couple of races, even though I'm one of the fastest. So try to fix it up and get it back going. Not down on RPM. So
What kind of damage happened to your car there?
I'm pretty sure it's mostly just aero, just like the first wreck. So we'll see. I mean, I was moving. I'm pretty sure I was the fastest out of everybody there at the end of the run by far. But take it one step at a time.
All right. Well, Nick, thanks so much for your time and good luck the rest
Thank you.
of the way.
P9 in points is Nick and Delicado there, and thank you, Emily, for the interview. As always, a great job. So everyone, I think, in our top 10 in points, with the exception of, oh man, and there goes Gerald Campbell as I'm talking about him. Harrison Talon in the wall, Crumps in the wall, right around. Adams grinds to a stop. Another big crash on the back straightaway at Bristol. Or I guess at the front.
Yeah, a few cars involved. Did Dalton Tucker get some more damage? We'll have to go back and take a look at this one.
Oh man, all started when Gerald Campbell and Harrison Talon were running together close, and I think Gerald might have gotten bumped there. We'll have to take a quick look at the replay. And just as I was saying that we had only a couple of guys in the top 10, it's now down to, I think, just one driver in the top 10. No, Gerald just lost it. Weeks through, Harrison isn't. Wright involved. Crump involved. Johnny Thomas around.
Looks like most of them were able to drive away, though, without too much damage. Obviously, Campbell getting the biggest share of that.
Joe Francis involved as well, the 50 car. He had run up near the front of the field a couple of times today. Nick Massey, though, the only member, I think, of the top 10 to not be involved in some sort of incident so far today.
What about maybe the 6 car? Brandon Key, has he got involved in anything? He's running in the top 5. Oh,
Ooh,
yeah,
he was involved in that one too, but I was talking about just the points.
Oh,
there.
the points leaders? Yeah,
Yep.
I got you.
Colin Fambro's been involved, but I think he's back up here with some speed in the car. So a couple of guys with an opportunity, but really it's all about whether or not Cameron Rich can pull this thing off and get back up into the top 10 points. He is 12th right now. Johnny smashes the inside wall, nowhere to go. Chris Wright involved. Joe Francis there, and oh man, Johnny went back and didn't expect to see a car stopped.
Yeah, gave some more damage there. Joe Francis.
Thomas Sherman requests to check his onboard on that crash. Might have to jump to that after this look. Tough break for all of these guys, and here's Thomas Sherman.
We escape once
crashes.
again.
Ooh,
Look at that.
that's how you win. That's how you have an opportunity to win a race right there. You make a move like that, and it'll set you up. I think Thomas Sherman might be the third or fourth car in line in terms of having no damage. And hey, look, there's Ryan Lutz. Haven't talked about him much since the start of the race, but he's gotten the damage fixed on that 36 car, and it is in the top 10, I believe.
Yeah, but you do that once and it's pretty good. That's at least the second time Thomas Sherman has done that today. He did that on the opening crash as well, weaving his way through traffic to avoid damage.
I think this is the wreck once again, doing the guys in the rear doing a good job of stopping and avoiding it. I think we need to go back live though. I'm pretty sure we're almost ready to go green once again.
And lights look like they're out on the pace car. Get ready to go green. Cameron Rich, Nick Massey going to lead us to the green flag once again.
Crump and Key have scoffed at pit stops and fixing damage. They were both involved in that wreck, but they said, it's all right. So we'll have to see if those guys kind of stack up the field. They definitely got dinged in that last accident.
See how significant their damage is here once we go green.
Matthew Bayek's been involved in a number of incidents. He's back up into the top 10. Colin Fambro, same thing. Rich with a great start. That'll give him the outside lane now.
Yeah, a fantastic start for Cameron Rich. Looked like Nick Massey stacked up that top line a little bit. Weeks able to slide in ahead of Crump. Thomas Sherman, fourth car in line up there on the top side. Brandon Key drops down to the bottom. We'll see if that has negative repercussions. Looks like he'll lose at least a spot. Try to slide up in there.
There's Ryan Lutz after Thomas Sherman.
Here
No
he
nose.
comes. 36 car. Nose is knocked off of it, but he's still trying to charge to the front.
Lutz can't see that there's no nose on it. He just knows that he's near the front of the field, and that's where he needs to go. Points leader has made it the most of being able to kind of get that damage fixed with the number of cautions we've had today and the caution flags that have brought him to the front in terms of strategy. He's now challenging for fourth, and this would be a remarkable day if he was able to take a lap one crash and turn it into a fantastic points day.
Oh, he's looking to try to come up here and challenge to be the first driver to repeat so far in the ERSCA season. And
Cameron
by
Rich
repeating, he'd be going back to back as well.
Reiterate that Smithfield Racing there on the side of the Ryan Lutz car, that is a sponsorship from Eric Almirola, and that was acquired in the last week. Lutz able to run this scheme, and just awesome for Ryan Lutz. Big story, and hopefully he can keep making Eric Almirola proud. This is a fantastic drive.
Yeah, I know he would love to take that group to victory lane here in the first week as he looks under Scott Crump. And yeah, massive story. We kind of hit on it at the beginning, but man, could you imagine waking up? He said woke up the next morning after his win, and Eric Almirola's on the other end of the phone call. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, very, very cool. And it's heard to hear that Eric Almirola's the kind of guy who's watching our broadcast is even cooler. So in that case, I mean, to broadcast that out is awesome. And I want to say, hey, if you want to sponsor a car, you don't have to be Eric Almirola. You can be anybody. You watch any of these drivers, you like what they do on track, go message them on Twitter, message the ERSCA Twitter, see if you can't find those drivers, and put your logo on the car. Put your name on the car. We'll put anything. These guys will put anything on their car if it means that they can shout you out at the end of the day when they win a race.
And hey, Eric, if you're watching, if you want to share this with any of your other buddies, feel free to as well.
Absolutely.
Good battle here between Lutz and Crump. Neither one giving way.
Ryan Lutz is the only driver I've seen that's been able to do that, ride on the bottom of the racetrack, hold on someone's quarter panel, and run the same speed as the car on the outside lane. He's just very, very good at rolling through the center of the corner. That's where Ryan Lutz always has the advantage. And he doesn't have the straightaway speed now. The car's been damaged and bent all to hell, but he's been able to roll it through the center of the corner now, and that's as much as he needs.
Thomas Sherman might be getting a little impatient behind them, watching these two do battle. He's getting held up. And they battle for 4th and 5th.
I know we're locked in on this battle. Dalton Tucker has moved back to 9th. So our points leaders have rebounded dramatically, and they may actually, oh man, as Lutz almost loses it. He does lose it. Now Sherman to the inside.
Here comes Thomas Sherman through. Yep, and that's exactly why they are our points leaders, right, David? Making bad days into good days. Salvaging those points, consistently running up here in the top 10 when they do have, or on a consistent basis. And good to see these guys back up here. If you're someone else deeper in the points, though, probably the worst thing you can see is one of them in your rearview mirror if you're trying to make up points on them.
Yep, it's going to create an even bigger gap, I think, from 2nd to 3rd after the way this day has gone. Dalton Tucker and Ryan Lutz really looking like they can put some ground between themselves and the rest of the field.
Thomas still riding here.
And I think this is showing us that Scott Crump is holding up this line. You know, we know that car's been damaged a couple of times, and a lot of these guys back here have less damage. Side by side once again, but Sherman now able to get alongside Lutz.
Go to the top side. We'll see if he can make that move work and get around Lutz for the 5th. Oh, he's got it now. 5th spot. Now he'll go for Crump in the 4th spot. Hammerich still out front, leading Nick Massey around. It's Weeks, Crump, and Sherman, your top 5. Lutz, Key, Fambro, Tucker, and Bayou in the top 10. Good to see Brandon Key running up here in the top 10 and holding his own.
Here comes Sherman on Crump. Crump's been able to hold station from that outside lane all night long. Oh no, Lutz gets into the back of Sherman.
Could have been disaster there for Thomas Sherman, able to get that 23 car back underneath him. He's going to lose some spots though. Here comes Brandon Key. He makes contact with him. Key into the wall. Fambro going to make it 3 wide. Colin Fambro threading the needle, will go around both of them, and he will jump up to the 6th spot. Brandon Key trying to get around Thomas Sherman now. They're going to keep it off each other. Key will pick up the 7th spot, and here comes Dalton Tucker as well.
That was a great piece of driving by those guys. You know, I bet they're mad at each other. I bet they're on the radio talking, hey, you got to watch out for a car here. But that's a great piece of driving. But for those guys, everyone not to spin out and cause an incident. And here comes Tucker. Dalton Tucker, man, what a drive after being taken out on lap 1. He and Ryan Lutz both so incredibly impressive. And yeah, you said it. This is why they're the points leaders. They have been able to run this well with damaged cars. I'm mightily impressed.
Yes, indeed. Dalton Tucker there getting around Key for the 7th spot. So we're trying to track down Colin Fambro now as we have 50 laps left to go here in the Reitz Motorsports 200 from Bristol Motor Speedway.
It has been a wild night, a lot of incidents. Don't think we're done with those either. And a lot of guys making comeback runs. We've got Gerald Campbell back up into, I believe, 12th spot, maybe 13th rather, but this car doing well. And James Heater, who I mentioned the top 10 all having incidents. I don't know how many incidents James Heater's been in today. It might be 0, but that car hasn't been fast all night long, and yet here he is running 14th. This is another way for him to make up points on kind of his competitors, though Ryan Lutz and Dalton Tucker have somehow managed to have a good day.
I think he might have been caught up at the end of one. He wasn't significantly in a wreck, but either he repaired that car or hasn't had significant damage, that's for sure. Look back up here at Brandon Key, Matthew Bayuk, and Adams. This is 7th, or 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Josh Adams into the top 10 with him and Brandon Key both sponsored by the same podcast there. Don't rightly recall the name, but that's why the colors seem similar to the eye. Johnny Thomas, Robert Hill, 11th and 12th behind them.
Have to wonder how much damage that did to Key and Sherman, because Sherman has dropped outside the top 10 now, and Key looks like he's holding up Bayuk and Adams. Tires might play a factor too, but both of them got together, and now they're falling through the field a little bit.
Yep, definitely the damage causing, I think, some issues there, as well as maybe sliding the tires a little bit. We are into the portion of the run where guys who've been saving tire are going to start coming to the front. And I think Dalton Tucker might be one of those who has been saving his tires.
Yeah, he's going to look under the 5 of Colin Fambro here, trying to find some room to try to take that 6th spot away. Lutz, and I think, as you mentioned, about 10, 15 laps earlier there, David, Trump still kind of holding these guys up a little bit and not letting them get by. It's allowed the front 3 to really pull away.
It's hard to pass at Bristol, man, especially with this new configuration. You know, I don't know how iRacing would have reacted. Oh, man, Lutz hit the wall.
Saw cars stack up there. Fambro dives to the inside, going to try to go under Ryan Lutz. We'll see if he can make it work. Looks like he's actually probably going to lose some time. Lutz into the wall again.
That was the wall lane there. You know, I mentioned it earlier. If you bounce the car off the wall ever so slightly, and that's what Lutz and Tucker are both trying to do right now, it's a high risk, high reward style of driving. It slows your car down just enough so that you can make the corner and get a big launch off, but it also, you know, puts you at risk of damaging the car.
I think we just saw Tucker get into the back of Lutz a little bit, or give him a little bump there off that line about a lap ago. But everyone slots back into their same position.
Ooh, crash on track. Josh Clark and Kendall Noah Player around. It will bring out the caution, and that will change everything.
7th caution of the night. These two have had a rough night, especially Player. That's his 4th or 5th caution he's been involved in now.
Josh Clark, one of those guys I was really looking forward to seeing whether or not he was going to be able to. Oh, they get 3 wide right in front of the leader. Harrison and Clark both into the inside wall. Oh, and then Player gets into Josh. Nowhere to go.
Had to be a scary moment there for a minute for your race leader, Cameron Rich, watching that all go down right in front of him.
We'll have to go on board with Cameron Rich, I think, and maybe we'll send Emily down to see if she can find some pit strategy from some of the drivers up in the top group. Matthew Weeks, Rich. I'm not sure who else is up there. I think Nick Massey as well.
Here we go on board with Cameron Rich, watching the 2 lappers get together, and not as bad, but still don't want to see that happen when you're out front trying to hold off Nick Massey behind you.
Dylan Thomas was 1 right turn away from eliminating our leader, Cameron Rich. That was very close.
He was.
I think Nick Massey got the lead off pit stops. To look on our timing and scoring once it pops up, but it looks like Nick Massey is out in front of Cameron Rich here. See if Massey can hold the lead. He's been able to run consistently 2nd, but he has not been able to slide by and challenge for the lead once Rich has gotten it. Weeks has also been close to the front, but he really hasn't had the speed, the same amount of speed as the top 2.
Yeah, it looks like Massey's in front of Rich there. And Matthew Weeks in the 3rd spot.
Looking forward to seeing whether or not Massey can actually hold the lead here. You know, maybe he was biding his time because now it's go time. All the bets are off. You've got to put the gloves on and drive as hard as you can here. You can't save the tire. You have to go. 30 laps left. I think we're going to be getting some kind of a rash of cautions here late. Guys are always going to push a little bit harder when the race is down to the end and the positions are about to be final. Ryan Lutz will get the top groove, looks like. So one of those guys that's going to be pushing extra hard will get to restart on the outside lane. Emily, you're back. You got anything for us?
Yeah, I just quickly talked to Nick, and he said his strategy the rest of the race is just to go to 100% here and to hold off Cameron because he's been obviously pretty fast lately, but he's just trying to put it all out on the line and see where he ends up here. So
Massey hasn't really put in those kind of dominant performances that we saw from him last year. I'm kind of wondering where they've been, but here's one now that Massey's been up top 2 the entire race. I think that he absolutely needs to give it 100% in this run, hold nothing back, and try to challenge this 47 car for the win.
Yeah, Nick Massey, our defending champion. He did pick up a dual win earlier this season, but has not picked up a race since we've gone racing in Daytona to start the regular season. We have had 4 different winners so far on the season. Massey would make it a 5th. Meanwhile, Cameron Rich is looking to be the first one to pick up a 2nd win on the year since his win in Daytona. Will he get it done? We are green flag racing with 32 to go.
Ooh, Rich in the wall.
The lead, Rich in the wall. As David said there, Weeks in the 3rd spot, Crump in 4th.
That's enough to open up a nice gap for Massey. Ryan Lutz is in the wall in the front straightaway. Sherman in the wall. Gerald Campbell's in it.
And there it is. Cars getting aggressive here as the laps are winding down. And Ryan Lutz, his luck might have run out here. He was making a hard charge to try to get up here and go back to back. Did he get a little help?
I think absolutely. There's no way you don't get help in a wreck like that. Oh man, he and Zishan have run into each other now. I think Ryan's just trying to come to pit road.
Zishan gets in the heater there.
And yeah, we got to go up to Ryan Lutz here in the Smithfield number 36. Colin Fambro comes off the wall and just door slams Lutz down into the track. Zishan involved, Mogart involved, Campbell involved, and Delicato involved. On board with Gerald Case. There's going to be nowhere to go in this.
Just like we've seen all night long, just small track and short track racing, and you see there comes Lutz back up the track, grabs Gerald Campbell.
Brutal for 4th in points, Gerald Campbell, who is having a really good run despite all that, and maybe we can pull in somebody for an interview after the wreck. And there's no way Nick Massey comes down pit road potentially to lose that track position. We'll see if anyone behind takes tires, but after a very short green flag run, I think everyone will be staying out here up near the front of the field.
Yeah, I'd be really shocked to see anyone come down pit road.
I think we're going to have someone pulled in here. Didn't quite hear Josh. Yeah, it's Ryan Lutz with us now, so we'll send it down to Emily.
Hey, Ryan, do you have a copy? Ryan, do you have a copy?
Yeah, can you hear me?
There you are. Yeah. Can you just kind of take us through what you saw from your point of view there?
I mean, we were going as hard as we could there. I thought we had a pretty good track position, and the 5 got loose off the corner and tagged us in the right front and sent us in the wall. So it's not the really we could do. We fought pretty hard there, put ourselves in contention to have a good run.
There's been quite a few crashes here tonight. What has just kind of been the biggest challenge on this track?
Guys running without respect. You know, it's just no patience in the beginning and just guys making stupid mistakes and really just running over the heads and running lines they should. That's really just what leads to, you know, stuff like this.
Is there anything that you feel like you would have done differently during this race?
Yeah, I could have put the 51 in the wall, put myself in 4th there, but I was trying to be a nice guy and run them hard. But if we would have been 4th, they would have been in really good contention to win this race. But you know, it is what it is, and that's just racing sometimes.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ryan, thanks so much for the time tonight.
All right, and thanks, Emily, once again for bringing us that interview and talking to Ryan Lutz. We appreciate it. And David, is that a sign of tempers are starting to boil over just a little bit?
Lutz sounded pretty calm about the 5 car. That's the one I'd be mad about. It seemed like he was running Crump with respect there, and I agree with him that would have been, that spot really is a big deal because he would have been on the outside on that restart instead of on the inside of the 5 car, and yeah, that changed everything. So that battle we saw, that 10-lap battle, that was absolutely a massive turning point in the race when he could not get around Scott Crump.
That's when you need the bump and run move there. Will we see someone move Crump here in the next restart? We've seen Crump kind of hold these cars up. Once again, Nick Massey, Cameron Rich leading us back to the green flag. Keep an eye in the back on that 51 car. We talked about it a couple times. Seems like there's some faster cars behind him, but they've been struggling to get around him. Will someone like Weeks, who's now in the 4 spot, move him to get around him and challenge Nick Massey and Cameron Rich for the race lead?
I wonder if Cameron Rich didn't wear off the good on that 47 car when he bounced it off the wall there on the restart. As here comes Weeks on Scott Crump. Rich bounced it off the wall pretty hard. I think that might have been enough to really damage that 47 car in Weeks, but maybe with the ill-fated decision to drop to the bottom here as the outside lane really lining up in front of him.
See Weeks drop into the bottom, and it's going to have a massive negative effect. He tried to challenge Chrome Tucker, looking to go around him now in Fanbro, hanging on that top side, trying to take advantage of the 11 car drop into the bottom as well. Weeks doing all he can to kind of stay where he is. This is going to stack up the line, though, and let those front 2 run away again.
You're looking at the new points leader, though. Dalton Tucker's going to get it from Ryan Lutz. Lutz definitely going to be out of this race, back in the field now, 29th. Weeks trying to clear himself on Fanbro, and he does it. Fanbro into the wall, and they crash behind.
Adams is spinning. He got together. Is that Bayuk that got into him?
Stacked it up there when Weeks got into Fanbro, and Fanbro hit the wall. Just kind of stacked everything up, and you got to race hard. You got to take what you can. That may actually work out for Weeks. Not sure if he's in front of Fanbro or whoever's in 6th. That's who it's going to work out for. But Fanbro into the wall there, and now is the question of who comes to get tires behind the race leaders. They will be staying out 100%. Who comes down pit road? And also, we mentioned Ryan Lutz said 4th was the place you want to be. Dalton Tucker's not 4th.
Yeah, Scott Crump now on the inside. I'd watch that 24 car. He's been sticking there, and there you see it, the stack up, as David said. Adams gets spun off the nose of Bayuk there, and things pile up.
The cleanest wreck we had all night.
Yeah, that was a great job by everyone avoiding that. It was actually a harmless spin by Adams.
I think there will be a little damage to the 5 and a little damage to the and a little damage to the 95 here, but not too much worse than the wear. Maybe some on the 29. But yeah, I don't think that's going to change the race much at all. Other than the restart that now Nick Massey will have to navigate.
Yep, absolutely. We're already less than 20 laps to go. Probably close to 15 when we go green once again. And now it's Massey, Rich, Crump, Tucker, Weeks, the top 5, Fanbro, Bayuk, Sherman, Hill, and Scott. Ethan Burrell is really slow on the apron.
I think Ethan may have sped on pit road. Usually when they're slow letting the field by, that indicates that they're letting the field by due to a penalty.
Ethan
Yeah,
Burrell
might
have had some trouble.
Not sure what the deal is here with Ethan Burrell. They're going to stack them up, though. And Nick Massey, Cameron Rich, Scott Crump, Dalton Tucker, and Matthew Weeks, the top 5. And wonder if Weeks and Fanbro side by side, if moving together, if that won't hinder the relations between the top drivers there. Then Matthew Bayou, Thomas Sherman, Robert Hill, and Brandon Scott in the top 10. Hill and Scott specifically have really needed good runs, and they've put them together today, although Scott was involved in that early incident.
Well, Scott Crump has been a tough driver to get around tonight. They have a pinned on the inside line here on the restart. Let's see if they can use that to their advantage.
Yep, I would not want to see that 51 car making his way up to the top groove. I think these guys want to try to slam him down and keep him out. Can Nick Massey hold off Cameron Rich is the story now, and can Dalton Tucker do anything with him?
Green flag in the air once again. Here we go. 16 to go, and Nick Massey gets a great restart on Cameron Rich. Going to try to clear him through the corner, and Will heading down the backstretch, and a great jump by Scott Crump. He's going to pull up to the top line in the 3rd position. It's going to be a tough spot for everybody else. Yep, side-by-side battle. Here comes Cameron Rich to the top side. Got the preferred line. Can you hold it down the backstretch?
Cameron Rich.
Yes, you'll clear Nick Massey.
Massey didn't get as good of a restart that time, and it's going to cost him as Cameron Rich now to the lead. Massey's going to have to do everything in his power to close that gap back up and make a dive to the inside.
Once again, you can see it. Dalton Tucker all over the back of the 51 car. He's holding up that line. They got to try to find a way to get around him, but as David has said all night long, that top line is the dominant line around here. Here goes Tucker. He'll look to the inside, but Crump has done a good job of holding these guys down there and holding his position, not letting these guys go.
Massey and Rich are side by side for the lead up here, but I think Massey just gave him a look, and it's backed off of it now. So we'll watch this 48 car to try to get back to it. The laps are clicking away quickly. Just 12 to go, coming to 11, and Massey's going to get runs on Rich. He's got an opportunity.
Might be sizing up Cameron Rich for the moment, but he's got to be precise and quick with what he wants to do, because at Bristol, these laps will go by in a blink of an eye, and before you know it, we'll be seeing the white flag coming out. 10 to go this time by.
See Massey getting the runs, but are they enough to take it to the bottom and actually get Cameron Rich? I don't know that he's got enough speed right now. He may need to use the bumper if he wants to actually move by Cameron Rich.
Anything happens on the white flag lap, it'll be interesting. Will Nick Massey move the bump and run technique and move Cameron Rich out of the way? If he gets there, we see him close up in the corners. Still got a few more laps before that would even come into the thought process. They have totally run away from Scott Crump in the third position, over a second back. Weeks has not been able to get around Crump at all. So it looks like it's going to be a two-car shootout here for the race win. Nick Massey looking to pick up his first win of the season. Cameron Rich looking to go back to victory lane for the first time since the Daytona race. Daytona 250 earlier to start the season. I have to hold off Nick Massey for another 6 more laps.
This is thrilling, watching Massey try to set up a run on Rich. He might just be waiting for the right time as well. He can get to the back bumper of the 47 anytime he wants, but the caution may be out. Johnny Thomas has crashed. Big crash there in turn on the back straightaway. And where are the leaders?
Jared Campbell, Joe Francis involved. Is that Thomas Sherman involved as well? There's Campbell, or there is Massey and Rich. So we're going to have to set this up again. And it'll be Nick Massey on the outside line here to get that preferred starting position.
What happened here? Oh, Thomas Sherman got sent by Jared Mogard in the middle of the corner.
Brandon Key comes down. They call Thomas, Jared
Burrell,
Campbell, Joe Francis,
Michael Goodman. A ton of big hits there, and
Johnny Thomas decided to drive around the racetrack backwards.
Well, Johnny's the head of the league. He's allowed to do that. But, oh, man, you're going to see there's just nowhere to go for Ethan Burrell, who's had a fairly miserable night. Thomas Sherman around. Ethan's off the gas. They're going to come right back down in front of him. Bang.
It started off so well for this 37 car. Was out front leading and just cannot catch a break like about half of the field here tonight. Maybe even 3/4 the way we're going.
Maybe we can send Emily to see if Nick Massey's going to be willing to move Cameron Rich, if that's what it comes to. That's what I'd like to know personally. And we'll have to see. And Gerald Campbell, another look as he gets into a couple of guys, then gets hit by Goodman. Not a great day for Gerald, though. He was fast at the beginning of the race. He'll now have to settle, I think, for a fairly low finish.
Pit strategy by anyone?
Doesn't look like anyone's willing to give up the track position. It's so hard to pass. And with just 2 laps to go,
yeah, there's not enough
on this
time
restart,
to make up the difference.
There's just no time to make those passes. The 2 laps will be done in 30 seconds once we go green. It is going to have to be a quick-witted restart by second place Nick Massey in order to catch and challenge Cameron Rich. He was setting him up for a later run. I wonder if he shouldn't have tried a little bit harder to get in front just in case of that caution.
Green, white, checkered finish here to end it. Here at the Reitz Motorsports 200. I think this might be the 3rd green, white, checkered finish we've had this season. Maybe the 2nd. We had a couple.
Daytona. Did we have one at Daytona? Or was it a natural finish where we just had 3 to go and we went green?
I don't remember.
And then
But
I think Iowa for sure we did, and then this one as well. So
either
I'd be
2
willing-
or 3. Yeah.
several. We've had several late cautions.
I have a feeling we're going to get back to our dramatic ways here to end this one. Could it include the 48 car using the bumper? Will he get a better restart and pull the lead? And perhaps, could it be Cameron Rich having to use the bumper, depending on who gets the better restart here to finish it all off? Here
Green
we
flag.
go. The Reitz Motorsports 200 back underway. Green-white checker to end this one. Cameron Rich with the great restart. Nick Massey going to have to find a little bit of time to get up there to the 47 cars. We head into 3 and 4. He's going to have to close in, and Weeks got around Scott Crump for the 3rd position. White flag in the air. Here we go. Into 1 and 2. Massey's going to have to close in if he wants any shot. Gets a good run out of 2. Into 3 and 4 we go. Massey to the inside. Looks to it, but it looks like it's going to be Cameron Rich, going to be the first repeat winner here in the ERSCA season. He takes the Reitz Motorsports 200 here at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Whew, what a finish. Massey gave it everything he had there, just wasn't nearly enough. And how about those top 10 runs for some of these guys? Scott Crump coming home in 4th, really drove a whale of a race, able to hold everybody off for so long. Matthew Bayuk to 6th, Fambro 5th, Kyle Hanshaw finishing 7th, Robert Hill 8th. Awesome finish there, and Cameron Rich did everything right there at the end of the race, held his line, ran the outside lane, got a great restart, and that was all it took because Massey, if he had gotten even a slightly better restart, I think he might have had a chance to get Cameron Rich.
That was a true act of a champion there because Massey could have drove it in there, made contact with Cameron Rich, but instead he decided to keep that car off of Rich, try to use the line and take the advantage, couldn't do it, and Cameron Rich, first repeat winner here in the ERSCA season, probably not the last. 47 car going back to victory lane.
Yep, that's pretty surprising, I think. Cameron Rich just came out of nowhere and had a really, really good car today. So we'll send it down to Emily to talk to, I believe, our race winner, Cameron Rich, first.
Hey, Cameron, do you have a copy?
Hey, what's up?
All right. Well, 3 laps to go on the restart. How were you able to hang on to first place there?
Pretty much all night. I was getting a pretty good restart on the inside line, but that was only when I was the leader. I think the outside was better for like second or back because you just had to really get to the top line to have any speed there in the first couple corners. But Ryan was he was changing his line a couple times there, and I was hoping he'd take the inside line because I think that was going to be my best chance to get him, and thankfully he did. Just kind of stuck it there on the outside line, and yeah, right.
And there were so many cautions tonight. We kind of knew it would be that way. What was your strategy entering the race tonight?
That's Bristol, so if you can kind of get past the first 50 laps or 100 laps or so without getting any damage on the car, you can usually have a pretty good shot at getting top 5. And I didn't qualify too well. I don't ever seem to do so for whatever reason, but kind of got there. I took the 2-tire strategy there in the middle part of the race to get some track position because it was so hard to pass. Just you had to be on the outside line, and it was pretty much hopeless if you weren't up there. And was able to get up on that outside line and get some speed going. And that long run really helped me a lot because I had kind of done my I tried to keep my strategy around the long runs because I was thinking that we were all going to be around the same pace if we did just short runs because the track was so cold out there. But when that long run hit, it kind of let us get spaced out a little bit and actually get some racing in.
And it looks like this is your first place since Daytona. Is that correct?
Yeah, I've had a lot of bad luck. I didn't even get to start Iowa. That really sucked. Had some technical issues there. And Homestead, I really felt like I should have had a shot to win or finish top 3 there, and just didn't get it done there at the end. And Atlanta was just a bad race on my part. So I'm hoping I can get my groove back into things. I won't be here next week at Talladega, so it's going to be a little bit of a points hit. But I'm glad I got this win to kind of cement things a little bit. Definitely going to be trying to go for that championship here later in the year.
Awesome. Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs you would like to give tonight?
Absolutely. I'd like to thank my team owner, Kyle Hanshaw, for putting this deal together, and Harpoon Designs giving me this beautiful car. Run out here every week. And Johnny for putting on the league, and you guys for broadcasting. Definitely going to watch it after this, after tonight.
Awesome. Well, Cameron, thanks so much for the time and congratulations on the win tonight.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
Now we'll bring in our second place finisher, Nick Massey, see if he had anything for Cameron Rich that he maybe could have done differently.
Hey, Nick, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
All right. So, kind of just, I want to hear your impressions of how you think this race went tonight. You started in first, ended up in second. Just kind of what are your overall thoughts of the race?
Well, I tried to stay up front, stay out of all the trouble that was going on in the back. I'm not sure what was going on, but the cars drove really well. It's pretty much the top only. You weren't really able to run the bottom at all, which is kind of made it difficult to pass. But yeah, just tried to stay up front, stay out of trouble, and it worked out.
What was your kind of vision on that last restart there with 3 laps to go, kind of battling with Cameron?
Yeah, me and him were battling probably the last like 50 or 60 laps. He was really fast all night. And there's like 3 or 4 restarts there at the end where I was in the lead and I chose the top, chose the bottom, and I kind of figured eventually he would get one and time it right and get me out of turn 2, and that's what happened. Because I didn't know what lane to pick. Because early in the race I picked the bottom and I lost the lead, and I picked the top and I think I lost the lead there too. So I was kind of clueless as what lane was the best on the restarts. But yeah, I tried to time it and try to run him back down, but I don't think I would have been able to do anything with him. It was just so hard to pass. Like I probably would have, without wrecking him, I don't think I would have been able to pass him. But yeah, congrats to him. It was a lot of fun.
It seemed like this probably had the most cautions that we've had so far this season. I know you said just the key was to stay out in front. What was your strategy kind of coming into the race, knowing that it would be kind of an intense track?
Just kind of, on these short tracks, you pretty much just have to qualify up front, and you're gonna have a lot of caution. Usually, we have a lot of cautions at some of these tracks, so you kind of just have to stay out and wait to take your tires because people take tires, and then you get guys on old tires in the back, guys on new tires in the back, and they just things keep happening back there. So you kind of just want to stay out of the danger zone in the back. So yeah, pretty much strategy was to just try to qualify up front, and hopefully just stay there.
Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs you would like to give tonight?
Yeah, just shout out to all my teammates, Josh, Colin, Chris, Brandon, and Brandon. It's good, cool to see Key back tonight. He took a couple weeks off, so that was good. And he ran pretty well too. He was up there in the top 10 for a while. We're up there running like 6th place and stuff. So that was cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. Hopefully, it was kind of a show at the end there, but
Oh, it was a fun one, very entertaining all the way through. So, all right. Well, Nick, thanks so much for the time and congrats on coming in second tonight.
Yep, thanks guys.
With that, we will bring in third place finisher Matthew Weeks with a pretty impressive run, his first really top end finish in the ERSCA Racing Series.
Hey, Matthew, it's Emily. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Perfect. Well, I believe you started in 4th tonight and ended up in 3rd place. So, how were you able to stay at the top all night?
Track position is key.
So when you were coming into this race, what was kind of the biggest strategy just in gaining that track position?
I just needed a good qualifying run and a good finish. Where my computer crashed last week, I needed it. So that good qualifying I got just pretty much set me up for the entire race.
What would you say was maybe the biggest challenge for you on this track tonight?
I was killing my right front on the long run. So that was pretty much it, and trying to get the bottom to work.
And I have to ask you, there were a lot of cautions here tonight. How were you able to avoid getting mixed up in any big ones?
Staying up front, and I think I only been around one wreck, and that was Gerald. So just staying up front was the thing.
Well, before we let you go, are there any shout outs you'd like to give tonight?
Yeah, my team, Pro Edge, and my sponsor, Jordan, was my sponsor with the band I got, man. I appreciate you guys for everything they do.
Awesome. Well, Matthew, thanks so much for the time and congrats on coming in third tonight.
Thank you.
With that, we conclude our run here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Dom, that was a really good race there at the end. I think maybe we could have had some guys run a little better there at the beginning of the race, but overall, I think it ended up being a really fantastic performance by the ERSCA drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. A little bit of patience needed a little earlier on, but I think everyone kind of settled in towards the midway point in the second half of the race. Just good run there. Looking at the results, Brandon Scott picking up a top 10. Dalton Tucker, I was just looking, 4th straight top 10. So I think you were saying he should probably be the points leader coming out of tonight. 4 straight top 10. That's how you get it done. Other than that, really not too many more surprises looking inside the top 10.
Well, I want to give a big shout out to my guy Robert Hill. He has really needed a great run, and I'm really proud of him. He did a great job today. Yeah, so he's my kind of shout out for this top group. And my pick, Jordan Owens, was in the top 10 on the last lap and got bounced out of it with a crash there. Ended up 21st. So felt like I was going to have something to point my finger at, but unfortunately, no.
I could go with Mr. Consistent so far, Dalton Tucker, picking up the 9th place finish.
Maybe we need to keep track of who among the broadcasts picks up like the top finisher and see at the end of the year who wins it all. You know what I mean?
All right, I'll go back next week. We'll have that for you when we come back on next week at Talladega. Who's been the most successful so far in our pick'em racers? So. Emily, any final thoughts here before we sign it off tonight?
Yeah, this was definitely a crazy one, but a fun one to broadcast. I know people have been talking about the cautions all night, so we definitely got our fix of that, and super excited for Cameron on getting the win, and super happy to have Brandon back. So Brandon Key back, that was really cool to see.
Yes, absolutely glad to see Brandon back with us. Hopefully he can continue to join us throughout the rest of the season. Once again, thanks to all of our sponsors that make the ERSCA broadcast possible, including Belly Up Sports, our big presenting sponsor. Well, that's going to do it here from Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll be back in action next Monday night at Talladega, race number 6 of the ERSCA season. For Josh Sobel, Emily Harlan, David Westergreen, I'm Dom Santina. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.